Today we can discuss about Unit 1, Teaching Aptitude. See, in Teaching Aptitude, the questions that we know very well, there are 5 questions from this unit. So each question carries 2 marks. There are 2 marks, there are 10 marks for this unit. Okay, 10 marks for this unit. So in this Teaching Aptitude unit, uh, in every time, what they are repeating questions. What are the repeating questions on different important patterns of the topics we can discuss in this class. It completely about overall unit. The today's class is the overall unit. What is concept? What are the methods? What are the objectives? We can go beyond that. Okay. So what is the teaching? Actually, the teaching is the concept which is related to teach or to instruct. Okay. So teaching is nothing but to teach or to instruct. Aptitude. So aptitude is nothing but that natural ability to do something. Natural ability to do something. Right? So teaching aptitude is which is made up of the 2 words which has different meanings. Right? Teaching aptitude, which is the relationship of teacher and student in conductive and controlled environment. So the teaching aptitude concept is related to the teacher and the student, and which it connects and controls the overall environment of the classroom. Right. So there are different definitions by the teaching. Morrison definition. Morrison is saying about teaching is an intimate contact between um, more maturity personality and less mature one. Okay. Morrison is saying about teaching is the experience of experienced person and less experienced person. About according to the Albert Einstein saying that teaching is a supreme art to evoke a joyful creation and expression of the knowledge. So Einstein is saying about it's in a supreme art. Teaching is in a supreme art. Okay, according to the APJ Abdul Kalam. So he's saying teaching is a notable profession. It is a noble profession, and that shapes the character, caliber, and future of the individual. So, according to that, Albert Albert Einstein, teaching is a supreme art. According to the Abdul Kalam, teaching is a noble profession. So that teacher and student interaction leads to the mold of the student character, caliber, and future of the individual. According to the Edmund Amidon, according to Edward Amidon, teaching is an interactive process of primary involving classroom talk. So it which is takes place between teacher and pupil. Pupil is nothing but the students. Okay, the entire activity of the classroom, which is a relationship between teacher and the student. So Amidon is saying about it is a interactive of teacher and pupil. There are different objectives of teaching. So there are like it brings desired changes in students' attitude, and it shapes the behavior of the student, and it develops the children, and it develops the concept, intellectual, subject-specific skills, and it improves learning skills by the relation of teacher and student. Okay. Teacher and student interaction, which makes the improvement of learning skills. Learning skills, right? It gives the desired changes in learning skills. Okay, there are different levels of teaching. There are 3 levels. Okay, memory level, understanding level, and reflection level. Okay, very important. So every time repeated question, this concept. Okay, memory level teaching. Um, it is discovered by the Harvard's teaching model. Harvard is discovered about this memory level of teaching, and the main concept is memorize the concept. Students are memorize the concept. The memory level of the teaching, which the focus on the memorization. Okay, it usually used in the lower class. So we can see the memorizing memory level of teaching. We can see in lower level classroom. So what is the structure of the memory level? Preparation, statement of the aim, presentation, association, generalization, and application. So this is the structure of the memory level of teaching. Okay. Next one is understanding level of teaching. Understanding level of teaching was discovered by Morrison. Okay, Ebru Morrison. Morrison. Okay, Morrison discovered understanding level of the teaching, and this main focuses on here the students can have capable of understanding the concept, motivation at the understanding level of teaching, which is extrinsic and intrinsic in nature. So students can understand concept internally and externally, physical and internal involvement. This is teaching learning at understanding level, which is emphasizing solidarity between relationship of general principles. There we can see that these understanding level of teaching we can see in primary, middle, and higher classes. The main objectives of the teaching is understanding the objectives and applications of the objectives. What is the structure of the understanding level of teaching? It consists of the presentation, exploration, assimilation, organization, and recitation. Recitation means recapitulation. Okay? The content oral recapitulation. So presentation, teacher present the content on board. Exploration, teacher testing the previous knowledge of the content. So teacher testing the previous content, what is discussed in previous class, and she analyzed the content analysis, and assimilation, generalization, individual activity, working in the laboratory work, library work, test of the contest, like that, and oralization, that is peoples are provide occasions for the representation, that is nothing but organization by representation. Recitation. Recitation is nothing but it is again when teacher teaches a concept on board. Again, teacher recaps, summarize the content, and uh, recitation is what students are understand about the concept. Again, they are telling that it's a reflection about what teachers given content on board. Okay, so this is about understanding level of teaching. Next, third one is the reflective level of teaching. Reflective level of teaching was discovered by Hunt. Reflective, in the name itself, is the reflective means students can understand, again give the answers related to that. Okay, so here you can see the most practical level of teaching. This reflective level is a more practical level, which has scientific methods to understand the problem, and which is thoughtful and useful. Learner can memorize and can understand in this level. Okay, there are three levels of teaching. Okay, memory level, understanding level, reflective level. Memory level, we can see that primary standards. Understanding level, primary, middle, high school. Okay, next, what is the structure of reflective level of teaching? Reflective level of teaching, which can creates a problematic situation, which formulate the hypothesis, which verify the hypothesis, and collection of the data, testing of the hypothesis. Okay, it consists of a structure. So questions sometimes they give in the form of a structure form. So, or understanding level, for example, understanding level, presentation, exploration, assimilation, organization, recitation, like that. So, order of the structure, they will give the misorder and one give the right order of the sequence. You have to pick the right order of the sequence. What you have to do, you have to remember the structure. Okay, so this is about levels of teaching. Next, objectives of teaching. Objectives of the teaching. Instructional objects are specific. The outcomes are based on the which are measurable. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy, which is discovered by the Bloom's Benjamin Bloom in 1956 discovered about Bloom's taxonomy, which is the hierarchical model, which is learning about the educational learning objectives into the levels of complexity and specificity. And there are three learning objectives are there according to the Bloom's taxonomy. Taxonomy is nothing but the classification of something, right? So this learning objectives are three learning objectives: cognitive learning, affective learning, and psychomotor domains. Cognitive learning is the process of acquiring the knowledge. Acquiring the knowledge, cognitive development. Cognitive, affective, psychomotor domains. Okay? These all are domains. Cognitive domains, affective domain, psychomotor. Cognitive domain is the process of acquiring the knowledge, and the affective domain is related to the moods, feelings, or attitudes of the students. Okay. Next, psychomotor, it's a conscious mental state, mental activity of the students. Okay, these are the three domains of Bloom's taxonomy. Cognitive domain, which has six objectives. Okay, which is knowledge-based, comprehensive, application, analysis, and synthesis, and evaluation. Affective domain, which consists of receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, characterizing, motor skills, and attitude are the some of the objectives of affective domain. Cadme and Briggs model and the psychomotor domain, which consists of observation, imitation, practice, adaptation, naturalization. Okay. This is the structure. Structure, that is objectives of levels. Next one is Gagne and Briggs model. Gagne and Briggs model, which is talking about learning. Okay, learning according to this model, which has the verbal information, intellectual skills, cognitive skills, motor skills, and attitude. And the student has to be understand this all skills, right? One teacher teaching a concept on board, so student has the capability of understand the verbal information. Teacher is giving us some verbal information on board. A student has the capability to understand about the verbal information. And intellectual skills, cognitive skills, motor skills, and attitude skills. Students has the motor skills are nothing but the mutable. Okay, cognitive development, it is acquiring the knowledge, right? So this skills student has the capability. This is the model which is talking about the learning. Okay, this concept related to when teacher teaching on the board. So the student has the capability of some of the learning abilities. What are the verbal information, intellectual skills, cognitive skills, motor skills, and attitude. The next one is nature and characteristics of teaching. See, when teacher teaching on a concept on board, um, she has a dynamic and social human. Okay, she should have a confident to teach a concept on board. So confident and the confident 100% uh, all the dimensions of the topic she has an aware about the understanding of the topic. Then she can able to give the complete information about the topic. So she should has a dynamic and she should social. Social means she should have the community. So communicative with the social interaction, she should has to interact with the students and human in nature. Human in nature means it's a fundamental concept formation, right? Teaching is a science. Teaching is an art. It is a diverse application, a systematic of actions, a professional activity, and an interactive process, and a subject to analyze, and a specialized task, a collection of various modes, and a continuous process. Teaching is a continuous process. The basic requirements of teaching is variables of teaching. There are two variables, dependent variables, independent variables. This is important. So what is this? Variables. Variables are nothing but the tools. The teacher teaching a concept on board. Teacher needs some materials, right? She needs chalk, she needs board, right? White blackboard, and she needs a duster. So, so there are two variables, dependent variables, independent variables. Okay. See, dependent variable. Student is the dependent variable. Student is the dependent variable. Teacher is the independent variable. And internative variable. The third variable is internative variable. Interventive variable. Interventive variable. Interventive variable is nothing but the curriculum. Dependent variable is a teacher. Intervening variable is a curriculum. This point note down. Okay. Next, role of infrastructure. Infrastructure is nothing but out of the classroom, the external environment. Okay. So, so suppose the 10th class classroom is there. Okay, 10th standard classroom. So classroom furniture. Okay, classroom width. Okay, So how many classes are there? There are different classes are there. So their room, furniture, library, laboratory, toilets, garden, and sports and all external environment, infrastructure called as infrastructure. School building, classrooms, playground, libraries are the most aspects of the school infrastructure. Spacious and spacious building, refurnished buildings, and four-walled ventilated buildings are ventilated classrooms are very important for the school. Well-equipped labs, learner-friendly lab activities, and facilities like extra curriculum, workshops, libraries, halls, games, equipment. So these all are very important, right, in school. So these all are called as the infrastructure of the school. So what are the principles of teaching? Yeah, general principles. There are principles of activity, principles of interest, principles of linking with the life. So, principle of motivation. As a teacher, she should motivate children in the classroom. Every time, her motivation in the classroom are very important. That make the student to change. Okay, so teacher should participate in activity based, the concept related to the activity based interest, student interest are very important, and based on the student interest, you have to be collaborate with them, and definite aim towards the children, and individual differences. You should recognize as a teacher. You should recognize the individual differences. Some are very active to the class, some are very dull to that, some are average. So you should recognize the individual differences. Principle of selection, principle of planning, principle of division, revision, creation, recreation, democratic dealing. These all are the principles of teacher. As a teacher, you should have some commandable, you should have some principles in your inner. So when according to that you go through this. These all are called as the general principles. But come to the these all are general principles. Then come to the psychological principles. Psychological principles, which mm, motivation and interest, recreation, repetition and exercise, repressing and creativity, and reinforcement, sympathy, empathy, cooperation, imparting, training senses, remedial teaching. Okay, these all are psychological principles. Okay, this is about principles of teaching. Principles of teaching, which consist of general principles and psychological principles. The next one is learning. Learning. We're learning here. Learner. Yeah. Learner. Learner. Who is learning? Student. Student is the learner. Learning is the process of assimilation of knowledge. Okay, who are acquiring the knowledge, who are assimilating the knowledge, they're called as a learner. So learner is an interaction between a teacher and learner. Here the learner interaction by teacher to learner. The interaction between a teacher to learner by student. Here student is learning, teacher is teaching something on the classroom. According to the schema, According to the Skinner, learning is the process of progressive behavior and experience and training. Okay, Blair Johnson, Simon is saying any changes of the behavior that results of experience, which causes the principal to face situations called as learning. So, what are the basic conditions of learning? Basic conditions of learning is cognitive practice, reinforcement, feedback, and generalization and dissemination. Okay, principles of learning. Principles of learning. As a learner, they have some interest on learning, right? So association, practice, reward, clarity, multiple exposure. Learner has these principles and variety of ability. Okay, theory, practice, and effective communication to the with the teacher. Who is learning about particular subject is called as learner. The learner learning by the classification. There are classification of learning: visual learning, auditory learning, motor learning, kinesthetic learning, logical learning. Okay, these are the different classes of learning. Characteristics. Characteristics are adolescent learners are there, adult learners are there. Learners who are interested to learn learning, there is no age limit for learning. For example, adult learners, moral development, cognitive development. So there is no individual differences for learning. Okay, cognitive development. Cognitive development, the learning in the mental and psychological process of mind, but not the behavior, is called as cognitive development. Individual differences. The next topic is individual differences. Individual differences by physical differences, intelligence differences, attitude, motor ability, according to the genre, racial differences, and economic differences. Some of them are poor, many of them are poor, some of them are rich. So economic differences, interest in classroom, factors like family background levels, and differences in race and nationality. These all are the uh, difference of interest. Personality differences. So reasons of individual differences: heredity, age, sex, environment, education are the some of the differences, reasons for the individual differences. So what are the factors which are affecting the teaching? Teaching skills. Teaching skills are very important. So when teacher don't have the command on the topic, she don't give an output or related to the concept. So teaching skills are very important. Educational qualification, teacher educational qualification, teacher's attitude, learner's attitude, institutional or administrative setup is important. Teacher training, economic factors, teaching learning environment are very, very important. And social and physical environment, instructional facilities, classroom management. These all are the important factors for teaching. What are the teaching aids? Visual aids like a blackboard, bulletin board, real objects, newspapers, graphs, maps, charts, magnetic boards, three-dimensional models, the PowerPoint presentation. These all are called the visual aids. Audio aids. Audio aids are radio, tape recorder, game phones, and digital audio players. Visual aids. Aids are nothing but the tools the teacher which is representing in classroom. Yeah. Audio visual aids. television, computer, film strips, or the films, or the sum of the audio, video, visual aids. Multimedia, pen tabs,